I think we're live, but I'm not sure.
We are.
This is a tomato. Think it's good for you? Think it can. My name is Dr.
We're laughing here because every week we do this. Excuse me. Carolyn is on my iPad and I'm on the computer. And every time we put it on, we get feedback. So good morning, everybody. I'm sorry I'm chewing again, sucking away again to try to stop me from my coughing bout. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for your lovely, 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 lovely well wishes and comments and so on. And it does make me feel so much better when I'm talking to you all. I know some people have written and said, Rosemary, don't do the shows, relax, etc. But actually, I've always felt this way. I think it's a driving force. If I'm doing something or I'm focusing on something, no matter how sick, and I say this to people who are sick, no matter how sick you are, if you've got something you can focus on, something that you can actually do or partake in, that makes you forget about you for, even if it's only for a couple of minutes, I think it really, I think it really is extremely helpful. And I did have a bit of a meltdown yesterday for all of about 30 seconds, right, Carolyn?
Yes, yeah.
I wept and wailed for 30 seconds and moaned and complained and then thought, oh, I'm tired of this. So here we are, and this is making me feel better. Don't you think, Al, when you're sick, that if you focus on something, that you can pull yourself out of it, it gives you some relief for a little bit at least?
Yes, without a doubt.
All right. So I'd like, first of all, to say good morning to Gregor, yes, who is standing, yes, thank goodness, hand on my shoulder, giving me lots of good energy. To Carolyn, who is sitting to my far right, say good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, Carolyn.
And we have our lovely Al from Colorado. Al, say good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Is it a good morning? Al, I'm being very direct now. I want you to answer me clearly. Is it a good morning?
It is a good morning. It's always a good morning. We got lots of snow here today. It was 50 degrees and we got a ton of snow, which everybody in my family loves the snow. So it's a good morning.
I can remember many years ago, a very good friend of mine had a neighbor. The neighbor was an old man. He was well into his 80s. And it was a lovely sunny day. My friend came out of her front door, walked down the garden path and saw her neighbor across the street, waved and said, good morning, isn't it a lovely day today? And the neighbor waved back, the old man waved back, and he said, well, he said, yes, it is a lovely day, the sun's shining, but isn't every day a lovely day? And I thought, what a great attitude. And that's why this old man of 80-some years old was out in his garden, pottering away and finding, everything is attitude, right, Al? Finding a really good attitude about life. Is it a good morning for you, Carolyn, this morning?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Good, because it wasn't a good morning for you yesterday, right? You had one or two little issues yesterday. You don't have to talk about them. I don't care. You don't have to. Don't bare your soul on TV by any means. But it wasn't a good morning for you yesterday, because I think
I'm hoping by the end of the day, situation will be resolved.
Well, I think what Carolyn did, she had a situation and she didn't know what to do about it at first, but then you became proactive. And being proactive about any situation is usually, providing you remember being proactive doesn't mean yelling and shouting. Proactive means dealing with the problem, getting on with it, accepting the problem, and then trying to solve it. Being proactive, I think, is always a good thing. And I think it paid off, did it not? We hope. Keep our fingers crossed. So today is a good day for Carolyn. Today is an extremely good day for me. I'd like to tell you what happened to me in the middle of the night. Now, I know you're all thinking, tell yourselves the middle of the night, dark and spooky. Rosemary, what could possibly happen? Well, we had a major thunderstorm here in the middle of the night, early hours of the morning, I should say. And I was sound asleep. And totally unaware of the thunderstorm until this fiend of a thing. Yes, there was a fiend in my bed, in my bedroom last night. This fiend of a thing came leaping across over me. Thank goodness did not land on me. Leapt over me and sort of sat on me. So almost sat on my face. Yes, you've guessed it. My puppy Katura, who is terrified of thunderstorms, who has not been able to get on the bed because he's getting old and infirm and his back legs are going and so on. And he has not been able to get on the bed for at least, well, several months at least now. Suddenly found the energy, I think it's called terror, to leap onto the bed, woke me up. I was, what on earth is going on? He then promptly, for some reason or another, known only to him, got off the bed and then spent the next 2 hours pacing the bedroom, trying to get back on the bed, huffing, puffing, and being terrified of the thunderstorm. And this is what an awful dog owner I am. I did not get out of bed. I was too sick to get out of bed. I left him to it. Now you can write all those horrible things about me, how awful I am and how mean I am to my puppy. I did make it up to him this morning, though. I did kiss him and say I was sorry. But in the middle of the night when you're sick, no, sorry, he was on his own. Am I mean now? Is that an awful thing to say?
I don't know if it's an awful thing to say, but
Or to do, actually. To do. I should have been more considerate and caring and loving, shouldn't I?
oh, well, you got to take care of yourself too, and
Well, I was coughing too much and I couldn't breathe properly, so sorry. I think worrying about the dog or being able to breathe. I chose the
breathing is more important than
yes.
so sort of essential, right?
Just a little bit. All right. Do we have anybody? Is there anybody out there?
Real quick,
There are.
Miss Andrea's joined you. The
What?
email that you got yesterday about the lady.
Carolyn. Well, first of all, Andrea, hi. Can we tell the tale? We should just tell the tale.
I have asked her and I have yet to receive a response. So Andrea.
We have Andrea, who has a lovely story, which I'm not entitled to share unless she tells me I can. So, Andrea, if you're watching this morning, I'm hoping that you're going to come to Florida.
Yes,
hoping,
she says yes.
I'm hoping we're going to get together because my voice is, and I'm struggling to breathe a bit. I'm having hot flashes as well. I have to tell you, if anybody's out there thinking she looks red this morning, I am red this morning. Carolyn, why don't you tell this Andrea story? Andrea, first of all, let me say thank you so much for writing this email. I do remember you. I don't remember what you look like, I'll be honest, but I do remember the situation. I don't remember the exact, but I do remember the thing about babies and so on. And I loved your story because I never did actually hear the end of it. When I go out and about, I give people messages, or sometimes I go into stores and give people messages, as happened with Andrea. You'll hear in a minute. I say what I have to say, and the spirit world says what they have to say. I should say, it's not really me. I just relay the stories, and then I walk away, and I rarely ever hear what happens after that. So I've now set the stage. Carolyn, briefly tell us this story. It's a good story, everybody.
Approximately 19 years ago.
Gosh. Woo!
Rosemary walked into a dress shop, I believe in England.
Very, very nice one too. Very nice.
And there was a lady working there, Andrea, who had just suffered a miscarriage pretty recently. And she was too nervous to ask Rosemary. So her co-worker had come over to Rosemary and asked her, is Andrea going to have another baby?
Let me just say, though, that just to sort of step back a couple of seconds, I frequented this particular dress shop often when I was in England. They did have Andrea, didn't they have some super things in there? Unusual and different, and I loved going in there. So I got to know the people in the store. So the girl, I think, who was the manager there, I mean, you know, people want to know about you, you want to know about them, and of course they knew they knew who I was, what I did. Sorry, go back to your story now. So
the coworker asked Rosemary, "Is Andrea going to have a baby?" And Rosemary placed her hand on Andrea's tummy and told her yes, that she would. And a short time later, Rosemary's office sent Andrea a couple of her books. And in the year 2000,
which I'd promised to do.
Yes, which she had promised to do. And in the year 2000, Andrea gave birth to a baby boy who is now 18 years old.
Which was just a few months after I put my hand on her tummy. And these hands are such magic sometimes.
She says every time she looks at her son, she remembers and she is grateful for your words
and we got the email reminding us about this story just yesterday, so we thought we'd share it with you. Isn't that a fun story? Isn't that a lovely? And Andrea, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And yes, you're coming to Florida, so yes, I hope we're going to get together. And you know, you don't want me to put my hands on you again, though, do you? You don't want another one. All right. Al, why don't we have our, do we have any questions?
We do, yeah.
Okay, let's go then.
Okay, so we have Dean is here with us.
Good morning, my darling. I was thinking about you this morning, Dean. I was thinking that you don't have any of those little things to put on your Christmas cake, so I thought that maybe I'll send you some. 1 or 2 only of mine. Because I've got a stack of them, as you probably saw in the video. Isn't that a cute video? I did a video, everybody out there who doesn't know what I'm talking about. I did a video of icing the cake, which reminds me, Al, when I go into YouTube, I can't find it. But when I'm on my iPad, I can find it. If I go on the TV YouTube, it's not there. I can't get to it. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, it is a very cute video of my darling boy and I icing the cake. And Dean wrote and said, I'd love to have had some of those little things, but I don't have any. So I thought, no, I'll share some with you. Email, I don't know if we have your address, Dean, but email us anyway with it. And I'll send you, don't be excited, only 2 or 3. I'm not sharing everything with you. I'm not letting you have my penguin, that's for sure. Sorry. Was there a question there, Al?
There is a question, yes. So Dean, I'm sure he commented down below, but I can't see it yet. Dean asks, what does Gray Eagle say about how we are to think of and treat people who are truly evil?
Oh, what a good question. And you know why it's such a good question? Because I'm now working on the book Gray Eagle Speaks, which is a book which will be filled to the gills with Gray Eagle's words. A lot of people have been involved in this book. I've had questions from so many people. Some I've forgotten, some I haven't. Some questions have come from, you know, sort of people through email. Some questions have come from my friends, so just sitting down with them and chatting. A lot of questions about the world that we live in. Strangely, there are a lot of political questions. There are a lot of questions about, you know, people who are different. There are questions concerning discrimination and whether it's right or not. And there are questions about, you know, people who seem to be evil or what have you. And Gray Eagle answers all of those questions, but he answers in such a way, in such a gentle and beautiful and poetic way. And I'm actually working on that now. So I'm not going to answer the question, Dean. I'm going to force you to wait for the book. Am I not? Am I? See, I wasn't nice to Choro last night or this morning in the early hours. I'm not nice to you now. Anyway, Carolyn, do you have a question?
Yes, we do.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
Paul,
good morning, darling.
in one of your books, you described a being sat on top of your car guiding
Oh.
you through the snow.
I remember that.
It sounded like an imp, pixie, or a leprechaun or something. Can you tell us more about who that was?
Well, it was a strange experience, and you're right. I think I wrote about that in The Eagle and the Rose. I'm not 100% sure if it was The Eagle and the Rose. Maybe Paul, you'll be able to tell us which book it was in. But I was driving along, and it was snow on the ground, warnings: if you don't have to be on the road, don't be on the road. My car was not the best. It often, drove on a wing and a prayer. And and here I was, for personal reasons, braving this ridiculous weather. And I was worried. And I'd said to Gregor before I left the house, will I be okay? And he'd said to me, you'll get there and you'll get back. He forgot to tell me all of the in-between stuff. But anyway, he said, you'll get there and you'll get back. So I'm driving along. I'd probably only been half an hour driving down the road, and it was already getting very tricky. And my journey was a 2-hour journey, made longer because of the weather. And there was this sort of off to my left, there was almost like it was like a big flash. You know how when lightning comes in the air and you see this lightning flash? And I looked across wondering what it was. And when I looked back, now this, all of you out there who write mean things about me, have a field day with this one. Go for it. Go for it. Because it really sounds like I'm crazy. I looked back, so driving, looked across, wondered what it was, looked back, and there sitting on the bonnet, if you're English, hood, if you're American, the front of the car anyway, with his back to me was this sort of, I thought at first it was a boy, small, very small, sitting cross-legged. And strangely, and I've never seen anything like this before, strangely wearing some, almost like an Eastern hat, like a sort of an odd turban, wide brim, and then a narrow sort of cone thing on the top. Anyway, and with a scarf that sort of went under his chin and flowed over his shoulder. And I only could see the back of him at first. And my first thought, I know people think, well, I'm going crazy. You see these visions, these weird things that happen to you, going crazy. Maybe you should just turn around and go home. My first thought, as always when I see people in the spirit world, is, oh, who are you? I didn't question at first what this little sort of Indian boy was doing sitting. It was freezing out there, let me tell you. I didn't question that. Oh, who are you? Was my first thought. I wasn't surprised because Gregor had said, you'll get there and you'll get back. So, I was pleased to have what I assumed was somebody helping me on the journey. It was only when he sort of turned and sort of talking to him, saying, who are you? And, what are you doing sitting there? And he turned to me and smiled, and he was sort of turned, he looked over his shoulder at me. And it was only then that I saw he had a beard, a mustache, a very sort of close cropped beard, and beautiful dark eyes, and really twinkling eyes. He was sort of smiling at me. And he just looked at me, and I just knew that he was there with me to help me on this, which turned out to be a really treacherous journey. My car broke down, all sorts of things happened. Anyway, I did get to my destination, and I did make it home safely. But by the time I got home, I was freezing cold, and I got to the top of my driveway. Luckily, my driveway sloped down slightly towards the house. I got to the top of the driveway, at which point the car stopped dead, broke down again, because I was driving on a wing and a prayer. It had broken down, and with the weather and so on and so forth, the garage could only fix it on a temporary basis. I got to the top of the driveway, the car just cut out, and I slid down the driveway. So I arrived home just safe and sound, went in the house, had a very hot bath, and it was a Friday, I remember. And then my students came, and we had a class night. So it was a harrowing journey. That little man was, I think, one of those sent to help me with my travel. I have seen him since. I'd never seen him before. I'd seen him since I was once sitting on a plane, and I looked, and I was sitting just in front of the wing, and I looked out, and I could just sort of see the wing going out then, and looked out of the window, and to my absolute surprise and delight, because I hadn't seen him for a long time, was this little man sitting on the wing of the airplane. I did wonder if the plane was having issues that perhaps we didn't know about, but we did land very safely, I'm pleased to say. So whenever I see him, which is very rare, I've not seen him, maybe not even, if I could count on the fingers of one hand, and still probably have a couple of fingers left over. I rarely see him, but when I see him, I always feel safe, and it's sort of a travel thing. I have no idea what else it could be. Anyway, let's have another question, shall we?
We have a comment from Renee.
Morning, Renee.
It's my mom's birthday in heaven today. She resembles you.
Oh,
Cheers to you and well wishes.
thank you. Well, happy birthday to your mom. And don't forget, she's watching you, watching over you. Please, you really should. I hope you made a cake. That's all I can say. Because if it's my birthday, when it's my birthday, and I'm there, and I can't make my own birthday cake, which I don't care for cake too much. But anyway, I hope my daughter's going to make a cake or have some pastries or some chocolate eclairs or something to celebrate. So you better have done that, I hope, for your mum's sake. Al, do you have anything to say about the little man?
No, just that's pretty cool that he shows up when needed. Yeah.
I mean, doesn't it make me sound really, seriously, honestly, I got to ask the question, doesn't it really make me sound really nuts? Don't you think?
I think a lot of this is accepting things that we don't fully understand, and I think many people are willing to do that, but some people aren't, and that's just how it is, right?
Yeah, and I think, you sort of hit the nail on the head, because everybody thinks that I must know all the answers to, all of these questions. And I do know a lot. I do know a lot about this subject. It is, for over 40 years, it's been my subject. So I do know, a lot about it. Having said that, no matter how much you don't know everything, do you? I am always wary of these people who, when they tell you a story or they talk about different things that happen to them, if there's not a bit of doubt there, if it's like this is absolute, it happened, I always wonder if it did, because for as much as I know, and for as much over all those many years that I've experienced, which has been a lot, I still question, and I question me more than anything else. And I think that's what keeps me sane. It's what keeps my feet on the ground, and what keeps me centered. I think we all should, question the experiences that we have.
So we do have a question from Sharon.
Good morning, Sharon.
The energy of things has seemed off somehow this week. Wondering if this has anything to do with the lunar eclipse, or is it something more?
The energy of what did she say?
Just things in general, I think she's saying. Things.
I'm ashamed to tell you all that I have not watched TV or listened to the news or read a newspaper for at least a month. That's not unusual for me, mind you, because I try very hard not to watch those things and not to get involved, because I think we can get so sidetracked. So unfortunately, at the moment, the only energy I know much about is what's going on in this house, and we're depleted a bit, I have to say. We're struggling and we're depleted. I do think, however, even though I'm not aware of what's going on out there as far as what you're talking about, the tides, the moon, the sun. I mean, everything is energy. So everything affects everything else, whether it affects it negatively or positively. I mean, things, the moon affects, and, there are people who, you hear about people who are affected by the moon and mood swings and so on and so forth. If I hadn't experienced that for myself personally, not me, but I had a father-in-law who was, without a shadow of a doubt, was affected by the moon. You could set your clock or the moon or whatever it was doing by him and his moods. Not that he strived to do it. I don't think he was even aware of it. But certainly there are people who are affected by tides, who are affected by movement, the Earth's movement and the natural order of energy and so on, which can be disrupted by so many things. And so I can't remember what the question was, but I think it was yes. Anyway, the answer is yes, the moon, the tides, the moon affects the tides anyway. Everything affects everything. And energy, I think there's always this, I don't know what you think, Al, there's always a downswing, I find. You get over Christmas, everybody builds the high to Christmas. Everybody builds the high to the New Year. And then, of course, in January, we're paying bills and we're coming down from the high and reality sets in as well. So I think that, people are naturally prone to having their energy first on a high and then on a low. What do you think about that, Al? I do think that makes a huge difference to our people.
It does, and the weather in most areas of the country is gray and cold, which we know sunlight is always, or lack of sunlight is always a factor. So I think there's definitely energy swings, and it's like you do something really great, you're on a high. The next day, it's kind of come back down to earth, and it's not as good.
And especially with the bills and taxes are due, and everybody's doing all of that stuff, and sort of, so we have our respite over Christmas, New Year, and so on. We have our fun, and then we have to come back to a certain reality. So I think all things contribute to maybe this perhaps this negative feeling that some people are experiencing right now. Karen.
Brittany says, hello, Rosemary.
Good morning, darling. How are you?
I just read your book, The Eagle and the Rose. After having many losses, it really helped me understand life after death.
Oh, good.
And I've been addicted to your channel ever since that. And her question is,
she's writing lovely, lovely things. But
I have a home camera in my house.
Oh.
When I'm gone, I'll get notifications that motion has been detected. When I look back at the video, I can see orbs. Do you think these are spirits visiting me?
I'm not sure that it's necessarily spirits visiting. Could be, but we just said everything is about energy. And just because we're not in a place doesn't mean, that there's no energy going on there. I love to go into old houses, for instance, and I'm often asked to go on, excuse me, what people consider to be ghost hunts. You can, walls absorb energy, floors absorb energy, even furniture absorbs energy. When we do psychometry, which is simply holding an object, usually a piece of jewelry, I always say to people, if you want me to do psychometry, or if I'm teaching my students to do psychometry, as we're going to be teaching in our online course, excuse me, always make sure that if you're working on a piece of jewelry for someone, that it didn't belong to someone else before. In other words, if your piece of jewelry is secondhand, it will have the energy of that other person. If you know that other person, that's fine. If you bought it in a secondhand shop and you no idea who it belonged to prior to you, then, if somebody's doing psychometry, whatever they say, you wouldn't understand what they say anyway. But walls absorb energy. Everything absorbs energy. Furniture absorbs energy. And certain people can actually tap into that energy, to tune into that energy, and to be able to see and to sense and to feel. So just because your house is empty doesn't mean nobody's in it. How about that? It happens with my camera too. I have a camera in my house too. So I know where you're coming from. Al, question.
We have Adrian.
Good morning.
They ask, good morning, Rosemary. I know you don't normally do this, but today is the anniversary of my grandmother's death.
Uh-oh.
I just want to know how she's doing. It would mean so much to me.
Well, this is a perfect opportunity for me to actually say to all of you out there who I know are waiting for your consultations, which we've had to cancel due to all of this stuff. You know, I know there are people who say it doesn't matter if you can't do your best, we still want to talk to you, we still want to consult. Well, it may not matter to you, but it certainly matters to me. So first of all, let me apologize to all of you who are waiting beautifully and patiently, and I do thank you for that. But until I am 100%, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, please God, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, excuse me, until I'm fully sort of recovered and my energy is such that I can give all of my energy to connecting with the spirit world, I really don't want to extend myself in that way, because it's not good for those people in the spirit world who, of course, they want 100% from me, and of course I try to give it, but I also want 100%. Having said that, who is this young lady we're talking
Adrian.
to? Adrian, is it a young lady or
I believe it.
We don't know. That's why.
It doesn't matter anyway. Having said that, Adrian, Gregel's hand is on my shoulder. Not quite sure what that means yet, but so I'm listening to him. The first thing I'm hearing him say is, "You're not to worry." Apparently, you were a little bit worried initially when she passed, or somebody was worried that whether she would be safe if she made it over. Is she okay? Absolutely, and amazingly, did not expect this. I'm too sick for this, Adrian. Why are you asking me this? I do see standing in front of me a lovely lady waving at me. Yes, I can see you waving at me. Did you mention a birthday? Say something about a birthday.
It's the anniversary of her grandmother.
Right, because there's a birthday and anniversary that she's talking. I'm being corrected. See, it's so easy, you know, to not listen properly. So this is why when I'm not 100%, I don't care for doing this, because I might miss something. Aside from the anniversary, yes, she's nodding. Aside from the anniversary, which is she's blowing kisses to you, and thank you for remembering, there is a birthday. It's coming up, but very, very shortly, and it's a special birthday, and she's blowing lots of loving kisses to you. And whoever's birthday this is, you've got to have a birthday party, because I think your grandmother's going to be there, and she's laughing. She's a lot of fun, this lady. She's going to be dancing. I'm going to just put myself out on a limb. I think there's going to be a wedding as well. She's talking about somebody getting married. She's going to be dancing a jig at the wedding. If you know what I'm talking about, darling, I hope you do. Really hope you do. If you don't, you will before much longer. I can tell you that. Gregel has put his hand on my shoulder again. This lovely lady's waving at me, blowing kisses to you. I hope you understand me. And she's sending lots of love to you and the family. All right, that's it. Moving on. Let's have our next question. That is not the door that's opened to all those other questions, similar questions, just so we're clear. I'm so sorry for coughing. It's driving
There is
me
one similar
crazy.
question that is just kind of funny.
Go on.
Renee asked,
Good morning, Renee. Yes.
does my mom in spirit find my in-laws funny?
Oh, that's a funny question. I'm not going to answer it right now. Try again another week. Ask me that when I'm feeling 100%. Al, question?
I do have Brittany asked, do I have to email my question, or can I send it via chat? she could send it via chat, correct?
Yes, yeah, I
What?
just took her question.
What do you mean?
I just did.
Do you want to tell me
She just
then?
asked the question when I have a home camera in my house.
Oh, that
That was
question.
great.
Oh, that was the question from
Yes.
below? Okay. All right.
Oh, okay then. All right. You got another question there, Al?
Yeah, so Mary says, my mom left the hospital with hospice. So
Good morning, Mary.
my mom left the hospital with hospice so she can die peacefully in her home. I think my mom is my earth angel. Do you know who is going to help her cross over?
I'm asking this one of Grey Eagle. You obviously love your mum, and I think perhaps your mum is your earth angel. How nice! Isn't that nice? That your mum is your angel too. I'm asking Grey Eagle, and I normally wouldn't do this either, especially not feeling the way I am, but still, that's okay. Because I think you need to know. I think I can only tell you what I'm seeing, but I'm not hearing anything. But Grey Eagle is telling me that just to recount what I'm seeing to you, I think there is a man very strong in her life. I'm going to say, I don't know who he is. I'm sorry, forgive my coughing and spluttering and not breathing properly. But anyway, that's my excuse. I'm making an excuse there. I want to say I see him as larger than life. That doesn't mean necessarily this is a big guy, but apparently Grey Eagle tells me he is tall. I think he is larger than life, and he's larger than life in your mum's life, and I think he is going to scoop her in his arms. This is what I'm being told. He's going to scoop her up in his arms and carry her safely home. So try not to worry too much, darling, and you're obviously a lovely daughter. And I do appreciate lovely daughters because I've got one of my own. Carolyn, let's have a next question, shall we?
I have a lovely daughter as well.
You have two lovely
Yes,
daughters,
do.
don't you?
Yes. Okay, just wanted to let you know that Sharon, who's a frequent visitor on your shows here on Thursday, invited her friend Joanne to join in today's show.
Morning, Joanne.
Joanne lives here in Venice, so I invited the two
What?
ladies to get a hold of us to come join us on a Thursday show.
Do you want to sit on my sofa, Sharon? And
Joanne, who said she enjoyed reading The Eagle and the Rose. It helped her a lot, and she couldn't put it down. Do
you want to come? Do you want to come and sit on our sofa with us and enjoy the show from this vantage point? Email us rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com. Carolyn will see to you, and we can arrange it really easily. And if you say no to that request, more for you, because why wouldn't you do it? If you've read The Eagle and the Rose, why wouldn't you want to come and sit with me on my sofa? I promise, though, we'll organise it for when I'm not coughing and spluttering, so it will be at least a couple of weeks. Al, question. I just want to say thank you to everybody for really persevering with me, because it's hard for me. It's got to be really awful for you to listen to me coughing and spluttering all the time. Go ahead, Al.
We have a comment from Dean and then a question from Priscilla. Dean says, the little man on the wing of the plane, which it reminded me of as well, an old Twilight Zone with William Shatner.
Oh, yeah.
That was not a nice thing on the wing of the plane, though, with the old Twilight Zone. I believe he ripped the plane apart. And so it wasn't a good thing.
There's a great, I don't know if you've ever seen Polar Express, the movie.
Yeah, we love that movie, yes.
Let me tell you, all of you out there who have either never heard of it or have never watched it, this is without a doubt one of the best Christmas movies ever made. Tom Hanks plays the conductor. It's a beautiful and an amazing and an incredible and breathtaking and on the edge of your seat. My grandson loves it, and I love it. I mean, I think adults love it as well as kids. But there is a scene in the Polar Express where there's a guy sitting on top of the train, who is he there or isn't he there? Is he a ghost or is he real or what is he? You know, so yeah, I think people like this have been depicted. This guy's a good guy, turns out to be a good guy. But yeah, we're not going to go to the Twilight Zone, are we?
No.
Is that why they do that music?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Tom Hanks plays a number of. He actually plays the guy on top of the train, and
He plays all of the
Santa Claus. Yeah, all the adult males. Yep, exactly.
he's amazing. It's an amazing movie. Yeah.
Yes. So Priscilla asks, how can I protect myself from negative sources during my journey towards another baby in the making? I'm sensing a lot of jealousy. I am being more sensitive to such sources at this time.
Good morning, Priscilla. Oh, that's not happy about this question. Simply because I'm not happy about the situation. You say she's trying for another baby, Al?
Yes, a baby in the making, yes.
I'm sorry, what? A baby in the making?
A baby in the making, and I'm sensing a lot of jealousy. I'm being more sensitive to such.
I can remember those times when, not necessarily babies in the making, but I can remember those times. Oh, takes me back. Anyway, sensing a lot of jealousy. Priscilla, maybe because you are feeling so sensitive right now, you know, sometimes we sense things which aren't quite what we seem to feel that they are. It might be that you're sensing concern from different people, you know, but there are people out there who, if we're happy and we're doing our stuff and we're getting on with our lives, there are people out there who are resentful of that, resentful of anyone who's having a good time, or resentful of anyone who's, you know, sort of happy when they perhaps aren't. You know, you can't do a lot about those people. What you can do is you can do a lot about yourself. So, you know, move past what other people think and feel. Stop worrying about, you know, people who may or may not be jealous. Stop worrying about that. Focus on you. Focus on what it is you want. Focus on your baby making, because aside from being a lot of fun doing it, making it, focus on the baby, you know, focus on the baby itself, and focus on, you know, bringing joy and love and light. Do not let your anxieties, do not let your doubts, your self-doubts, do not let those get in the way of this joyful, joyful, joyful time for you. And please let us know. Can you let us know how things are going? How's the baby doing and all that stuff? We want to know all of that. We want to focus on the good stuff. We talk about, on Friday evenings, Al and I, we do our Everything is Attitude show. And this is one of those times, I think, Al, don't you agree, where it's so easy, especially when you're feeling emotional or you're feeling particularly sensitive, whether you're having a baby or if you're sick or whatever, something's going on in your life that sort of makes you question, makes you more sensitive, makes you doubt, and so on. Excuse me. Sorry. And it's so easy to slip into or allow other people's negativity to invade your space. And everything's about attitude. So I'm going to say, Priscilla, work on your positive attitude. Would you say, Al, that you know, that this is a topic for a Friday night show?
Yes, yeah. I think we've spoken about it at one. It's not. You always say, right? It's easy when it's easy, and it's not easy when you're sort of spiraling down like that. But the nature of letting that negativity get to you lets negativity in more in a way, right? It's almost viral in nature, one way or the other.
You know, I think it's, you know, there are people who like to sort of, you know, sort of put the little seeds of doubt in your mind. Well, you know, did you really want another baby? Are you really happy? Is this really what you wanted? That sort of thing. Those just, they're ghosts. Walk past them. Ignore what they have to say to you, because, you know, their seeds of doubt that they're laying onto you are really only the seeds of doubt that they have about themselves, and that's a sad thing. But try not to let other people's negativity, jealousy, or simple, unfounded concerns for you. Don't let that get in the way of this joyful, joyful, joyful. Karen.
Connie has a question.
Good morning, Connie.
My mom is an extreme narcissist. Does my dad see all of the destruction she is causing? And has he been listening to her tell me how much he hated me? Not true, but I'm the scapegoat in my mom's world.
Connie, you and I need to have a little nose to nose. You know what that means? A little nose to nose. It means a little heart to heart. But a little bit of tough love here I'm going to give to you. I'm sure I know, because as you were talking, as Carolyn was reading your question, I know that Gregor is concerned about this, and I know because sometimes people think these things or they say these things, but maybe are exaggerating a bit. But I know because Gregor is concerned here for you, and also for your dad, and of course your dad sees all. I know there's some concern for you, but here's the thing. This is the nose to nose. See, my eyes are focusing right on you. People can only do to you what you allow them to do. If when your mother is spewing this vitriol, because that's what it is, you are still in the room when she's uttered the second word, then you're asking for it more for you. You need to remove yourself. Do not tell me the house is small. You can always go sit on the toilet. Do not tell me that you don't have a door that leads outside. I don't care how freezing cold it is. Don't stand around listening while other people spew their venom and their vitriol at you. If you stand there and you take it, it's because in some odd way you desire it. There are people out there in the world who like nothing more than to be miserable. Your mother sounds like one of those people, but I'm asking you to ask yourself this question. Are you one of those people? Because if you're standing around and listening to this for even one moment, you need to ask yourself why. Remove yourself, protect yourself. People can only do to you what you allow them to do, and you are allowing this to go on. Go sit on the toilet, read a book, turn the TV on really loud so you can't hear her. I don't care what you do, but remove yourself from this vitriol, from this negativity, because staying around and absorbing it is very damaging to you, darling. I'm sorry to be tough with you, but you need me to be tough with you, I think. You should never, none of us should never, ever, no matter where it's from or who it's from, never, ever allow people to disrespect you. And your mother is not only disrespecting you, she's disrespecting your father, she's disrespecting what you have between you, which is she's born of jealousy, and she's disrespecting the love and the care that a mother should automatically be giving to her child. Don't allow it to happen. You remember earlier on I said that Carolyn was proactive. You took things into your own hands, right, about a situation. Connie, you can do this. Just remove yourself. If your mother is then talking to the wall or to an empty chair, who cares? Don't let it be to you. So remove yourself, go into the kitchen, make some tea. Just get up and walk out. If she follows you, close the door in her face. Don't put yourself in a situation where you have to listen to her. And if you go visit her, if you don't live with her, you go visit her and she starts, do this for yourself. I love you, Mom, but I'm not listening. And you turn around and you go, you leave, get out. That's simple. I'd love to hear your comments or anybody else's comments there. Al, we've talked about this. People can only do to you what you allow them to do. What do you say to Connie?
I would say that inevitably even though it doesn't seem like it, it's her choice how she wants to react or engage or sort of take the bait. I think both you and I have had experiences with that bait piece where you can either take it and be developed in whatever energy or situation it is, or disengage and choose a path that's healthier for you. And I know I have to do that often in my own life, and I hope that she can do that because it's damaging, short term and long term. It's damaging.
Well, let me just say this. I'm going to ask Karen for your opinion as well here, but let me just say this. You said, Al, to Connie, I hope you can do this. Hold on here. Hold on. Of course she can do it, no doubt. Does she want to? Will she? Will you, Connie? Don't tell me you can't. Don't tell me there's nowhere in the house you can hide. I don't believe it. If you want to, you will find a way. Do you want to? Do you have a comment here? Connie, I know we seem to be focusing on this, but this upsets me so much when I see, and it's not just Connie, a lot of people out there are manipulated by other people, like this lovely
lady yesterday who emailed asking for her forgiveness for her husband who was a drunk and a gambler.
Oh, yes. We had an email from some lovely lady. Her husband, she's worried about her husband, and he's, please send him healing. And he's an alcoholic and he's a gambler. And I'm thinking, I don't know what to say here. What do I say to you except get the heck out? I've done it myself, You feel needed. These people make you feel needed. They manipulate you. They're mean to you, and then they need you, and then you feel obliged. And so it's called manipulation. They've got you on a string. And I wanted to say to this lady yesterday who emailed Karen, we were talking about it. Of course we're going to send healing to her husband. Of course he has an issue. Of course I'm sympathetic. But why are you still there dealing with it? Save yourself is what I wanted to say. Save yourself. And Connie, save yourself. Yeah.
I do. For my own personal experience, it was very hard for me to believe that simply by leaving the room and leaving a confrontation that it would eventually have a good result. I couldn't believe that simple act of me removing myself would retrain the person I was having a problem with. And it does retrain them.
It retrains them because, hey, if they've got no one to talk to and no one to spill their vitriol on, sooner or later, they're doing it to themselves. What's the point? If you remove yourself, you don't have to leave her. You don't have to abandon her. I'm not saying that. The same with this lady with the husband. Just remove yourself when this starts. Do not give them the opportunity to use you as their punching bag, because that's what you are. And when you stand there, it's your choice. You choose to be the punching bag. Stop it. Al, question. Let's move on. Moving on. I do hope we hear back from Connie and she's still speaking to me. But
we have a couple of comments.
It's only for your own good, Connie. So go ahead. Give me the comments, Al.
So Sharon mentioned before about the energy being off, and she clarified just weird things happening this week. Car broke down, alarm went off, just felt like things were weird. Yeah. Adrian from before said it's her daughter's birthday is on Valentine's Day, so that's the birthday that's coming up. And then Teresa has a question: can our spirit family stop us from making bad choices?
No. They can whisper in your ear. They can do their very best to influence you. But the decision at the end of the day for any of our actions is our own. So they can give us good advice, which, through our consultations, we have some amazing consults sometimes. People come to me with all kinds of issues, but some you would never even imagine. And the advice that is given and the help that is given is amazing. You know, I mean, the wisdom that comes from the spirit world, and as you call them, spirit families, our family and friends in the spirit world, the wisdom is amazing. But the choice to take that wisdom, to take that advice or not, is ours alone. My friend Jeff and his wife Andrea came last week, and they brought me dinner and sat and ate with me, and we were chatting. Well, they were chatting. I couldn't talk properly, but anyway, chatting away. And at some point, I was asking Jeff about something, nothing particular or special, and I was asking his advice, probably about something to do with the house. And he gave me this advice, and then he looked at me and he laughed and he said, "Hey," he says, "take my advice. I don't use it." So the spirit world can say, "Take, here, take the advice. I don't use it." Or you can say to them, "Take my advice. I don't use it." You can use people's advice. You can use people's wisdom, or you can choose not to. The bottom line is the responsibility for those choices is yours and yours alone. I have another question.
Albertine wrote in last
Good morning,
week.
Albertine.
And I actually discussed a similar question
Sorry,
with you yesterday.
Just keep going.
Okay. Why does one child have a birthmark at birth and another does not? My father told me that they used to say that when the mother was startled during pregnancy, that resulted in a birthmark. Is that so?
I don't know. I mean, I've got no idea of of how these things work. I do actually think, and this is an intriguing question. This is an intriguing question in that I do think that there are certain times or certain marks that we have, or certain, let's say, blemishes that we have that I know it sounds weird, but yet we're meant to have. It's a weird thing. For instance, I have a small scar on my head. If you didn't know it was there, you would never see it. But I got it when I was sort of 3 or 4 years old. My sister threw an open tin can at me. And it's a little moon-shaped scar. My daughter also has a scar on her head. My grandson also has a scar on his head. You can go on and on these weird things, can't you? I mean, do they mean anything? I think they do. So what it is that they do mean, sometimes I know and sometimes I'm not sure. But I think we should take notice of those little gifts that we have, because, otherwise, you see, if I didn't have this scar on my head that you can't see, otherwise people would think I was perfect. And of course, nobody's perfect, are they? Just kidding. Right.
Connie does have a comment.
Oh, come on, Connie, my darling. Give it to me. Go on.
Thanks, Rosemary. I'm her caregiver. I do hide away from her when she starts. The subject of my dad cuts deep. Sometimes you just need to be heard.
Yes. I don't want you to hide away. There's the difference. It's tough for you. I see that. And how lovely that you're still there helping this lovely lady, as mean as she is. But I don't want you to hide away. When I say go and sit on the toilet or find somewhere to be, don't hide away from your mother. Remove yourself from the vitriol and try and do something that's good for you. Even if it's sit and read a good book. Just go find a place. Don't hide. You're not hiding from her. You're removing yourself. There's a big difference. It's all about your attitude, my lovely. We're going to send you lots of healing, I think. Al.
Rosemary, I do have to go, but we are close to time. Your call, of course, but I do have to jump off.
See you then.
Have a good day.
We're going to take one or two more questions, I think, with Karen. Thanks, Al.
Thank you. Take care.
Are we tonight?
Tomorrow.
No.
I'll call you on that. Okay?
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Carolyn, carry on.
We've got Eva from Buenos Aires saying,
good morning, Eva.
She read The Eagle and the Rose, and it's amazing.
Thank you.
She's here to join in. We try not to ask more than one question from the same person, so I'm kind of going through here.
Okay.
Did you want to discuss The classes real quick.
I do like to, unfortunately, Al knows more about it than I do, but we've been getting lots and lots of emails from people. So if I can just tell you, if you want to know about our online course, please email us. But because of all of this stuff, and I'm still not breathing properly, and I'm probably going to have coughing spasms for a couple of hours after I've done this show. So we've been held back a little bit. However, we will be registering people for the online course. So if you want to know more about it, please email us. We're going to be sending that information out in the next couple of weeks. We'll let you know exactly how much it is. It's, as I said before, it's not going to be a fortune. It might sound like it's a fortune for some people, but it isn't. I think it's something like the price of a cup of coffee or something. Oh, I mean, we are trying to limit it to as little so that you don't have, I don't want people to get broke on this. And I feel that this subject is for everybody there. And so we're going to be registering, people are going to be registering in the next, or able to register in the next couple of weeks. Al knows much more about that and how to do it. We'll be sending emails out to everybody who wants to know more about it. And we'll be letting you have all of the details and the exact date that we're going to be starting. But obviously, I would like to be more of 100%, not trying to catch my breath and all that stuff, which we're getting there. We are getting there. So please email us if you need to know more about the online courses. We have the cookbook app, which is out now. We're just doing some final touches. So you know, these things, we always add a bit and then we add a bit more and then we add a bit more, so, you know, and so on. So it's that kind of a book. We're going to be adding and so on. And I did mention earlier, we're working on the Grey Eagle Speaks, which is going to be it is amazing. I've had it for years and years and years, and I've kept adding to it over the years, adding questions and so on. So, you know, we'll let you know when that is out, but not for a while. We also have the new book, A Walk in the Clouds, which, if you liked The Eagle and the Rose, you'll like A Walk in the Clouds, right, Carolyn? I mean, it's a lovely book, and lots of stories that you might find interesting. If you want to know more about me, email Rosemary at rosemaryaLtea.com. We are going to be on tomorrow night, Friday night, 6 o'clock Standard Eastern Time, with Everything is Attitude. You will be able to make comments and I think even ask questions. But we'll be, I'm not sure if we've got a guest. Al knows all that stuff, but probably we'll have a guest tomorrow. We're going to be talking Everything is Attitude.
And that is on Rosemary's healing page.
And the Everything is Attitude, if you go to Facebook and you find it on my healing page, I know a lot of you can't connect, but if you need to know more or you want to know more about that, you can email al@alpisano.com. He'll let you know how to do that, or info@everythingisattitude.com. I had to think about that. And also, again, you can always email us, rosemary@rosemaryaLtea.com, and Carolyn is there to answer all of your questions on your email. So until, excuse me, until I see you again, hopefully tomorrow night, if not next week, please, please, all of you out there, have a very, 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 can I make it through this very blessed day? And there we go. Oh, well, maybe not. Oh, still live, I think.
Yeah.